Good morning, students. Today we will tackle about the quadratic equations. Before we start, let me introduce to you myself. By the way, my name is Roland Viola, your subject teacher in Mathematics 9. So before we will discuss our lesson, let's have first our objectives. A. Understands quadratic equations. B. Illustrate quadratic equations. C. Solve quadratic equation by extracting square root, factoring, completing square, and using the quadratic formula. The illustration of quadratic equations. A quadratic equation is one variable is a mathematical sentence of degree 2 that can be written in the following standard form. So ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a, b, and c are real numbers and a is not equal to 0. In the equation ax squared, in the quadratic term bx is the linear term and c is the constant term. Why do you think a must not be equal to 0? What happens to the equation when a is equal to 0? So the value of a must not be equal to 0 because it is the numerical coefficient of the quadratic term. Example here, 3x squared plus 7x minus 1 is equal to 0 is a quadratic equation in standard form with a is equal to 3, b is equal to 7, c is equal to negative 1. So for example number 2, 2x is the quantity of x minus 4 is equal to 12 is a quadratic equation. However, it is not written in standard form. To transform it to its standard form, use distributive property and make one side of the equation 0 as shown below. So here to x quantity of x minus 4 is equal to 12 by using the distributive property. So we have here 2x squared minus 8x is equal to 12. And then 2x squared minus 8x minus 12 is equal to 12 minus 12 by subtraction property of inequality. So 2x squared minus 8x minus 12 is equal to 0. So the standard form of 2x quantity of x minus 4 is equal to 12 is 2x squared minus 8x minus 12 is equal to 0, where a is equal to 2, b is equal to negative 8, and c is equal to negative 12. Another example. Uh, Quantity of x plus 1 times the quantity of x minus 8 is equal to negative 9 is also a quadratic equation, but it is not written in standard form. Just like in example number 2, transform it to standard form from using distributive property and make one side of the equation 0 as shown below. So x plus 1 times x minus 1 is equal to negative 9. By using the distributive property, we come up with the result of x squared minus 7x minus 8x minus 8 equals to 9, negative 9. So x squared minus 7x minus 8 plus 9 is equal to negative 9 plus 9. We use the addition property of inequality, so we have here x squared minus 7x plus 1 is equal to 0. So therefore, the standard form of x plus 1 quantity of x minus 1 is equal to negative 9 is x squared minus 7x plus 1 is equal to 0, where a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 7, and c is equal to 1. When b is equal to 0, in the equation ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, it results in the quadratic equation of the form ax squared plus c is equal to 0. Examples such as 3x squared minus y is equal to 0. So negative 5x squared plus 3 is equal to 0. And x squared minus 1 is equal to 0 are quadratic equation of the forms ax squared plus c is equal to 0. In each equation, the value of b is 0, while equations such as 4x squared minus x is equal to 0, so negative x squared plus 5x is equal to 0, and negative 2x squared minus 5x is equal to 0 are quadratic equations of the form ax squared plus bx equals to 0. In each equation, the value of c is equal to 0. Solving quadratic equation by extracting square roots. So quadratic equation can be written in the form of ax squared is equals to r, where r could be any real numbers, can be solved by the method called extracting square roots. This method is used with the following properties as a guide. So property 1, if r is greater than 0, then x squared is equal to r has two real solution of x is equal to positive negative square root of r. Example, find the solution of the equation x squared minus 36 is equal to 0 by extracting square roots. So our solution is to write x squared minus 36 equals 0 in the form of x squared equals to r by adding both sides of the equation by 36. So we have here x squared minus 36 is equals to 0. Then x squared minus 36 plus 36 is equals to 0 plus 36. Then x squared is equals to 36. Since our r is equals to 36, which is greater than 0, so r is greater than 0, we need to use property number 1, which states if r is greater than 0, then x squared is equals to r has two real solution of roots x. So x is equals to positive negative square root of r. To find the value of x, that will make the equation x squared minus 36 is equals to 0 is true. So we have here x squared is equals to 36, x squared is equals to 36, then x is equals to positive negative 36, square root of 36, then x is equals to positive negative and 36, 6. So square root of 36 is 6. So x is equals to 6 or x is equals to negative 6. To check if the values we obtain is correct, we just substitute the values of x in the original equation. So for the checking, for x is equal to 6, x squared minus 36 is equal to 0, then 6 squared is equal to 36 equals 0, then 6 squared is 36, then minus 36 is equal to 0. So therefore, check. So for x, also the same process of just substitute the value of x and then we come up with a 0. Both values of x satisfies the given equation. Thus, x squared minus 36 equals to 0 is true when x is equal to 6 and x is equal to negative 6. So answer, the equation of x is squared is equal, minus 36 is equal to 0 has two solutions. X is equal to 6 and x is equal to negative 6. Note, a quadratic equation can have two or only one real solutions. In some cases, it can also have no real solutions. So property number 2, if r is equal to 0, then x equals r has one equal solution or x or root. So x equals 0. Example, solve the equation m squared equals 0. Solution, the equation m squared equals 0 is already in the form of x squared equals r. So m squared is equal to 0. So since r is equal to 0, we need to use the second property too, which states if r is equal to 0, then x squared is equal to r has one real solution or root. X equals 0, then that is m equals 0. So the square root of m squared is equals to square root of 0, then m is equals to 0. To check, we substitute the value of m in the original equation. So for m is equal to 0, then m squared is equal to 0. So therefore, we got the correct. The equation m squared is equal to 0 has only one solution, which is x is equal to 0. Property 3. If r is greater less than 0, then x squared is equals to r has no real solution or roots. Example 3. Find the roots of the equation. X squared plus 9 is equals to 0. So solution, we write x squared plus 9 equals 0 into the form of x squared equals r by adding both sides of the equation by 9, negative 9. So since r is equals to 9, negative 9, which is less than 0, then r is less than 0, we need to use property 3, which says if r is less than 0, then x squared is equals to r has no real solutions or roots, because there is no real number that gives negative 9 when squared. So answer, the equation x squared plus 9 is equals to 0 has no real solution or roots. In the next example, other mathematical concepts you previously learned are used along with the property needed to solve the quadratic equation by extracting square roots. So study the steps to help you with the activities that follow. So for example number 4, find the solution of the equation x minus 3 squared minus 81 is equals to 0. To solve the equation, add 81 to both sides of the equation and simplify. So just take a look with on your right side screen. So extract the square roots of both sides of the equation. So we extracted it. And then the result gives us two equations. So x minus 3 is equals to 9 and x minus 3 is equals to negative 9. Solve each equation to find the solution. So for x minus 9 is equals to 9. So x minus 3 plus 3 is equals to 9 plus 3. So x is 12. So for x minus 3 is equals to negative 9. So x minus 3 plus 3 is equals to x plus negative 9 plus 3. Then x is equals to negative 6. To check, substitute the values of x in the original equation. So for the checking, so we got the correct answer. What values of x satisfies the given equation? So the equation x, quantity of x minus 3 squared minus 81 is equals to 0 is true when x is equals to 12 and x equals negative 6. Therefore, the equation x minus 3 squared minus 81 is equals to 0 has two solutions. So x equals 12 and x equals negative 6. Solving quadratic equation by factoring. Some quadratic equation can be solved easily by factoring. This type of quadratic equation is said to be factorable. To solve such quadratic equation, the following steps can be followed. Number 1. Transform the quadratic equation into standard form if necessary. Factor the quadratic expression. Apply zero product property by setting each factor of the quadratic equation or expression equal to 0. Solve each resulting equation to get the value of the variable and check the value of the variable if obtained by substituting each in the original equation. So zero property is the product of two equal numbers or two real numbers 0, then either of the two is equal to 0 or both numbers are equal to 0. For example, find the solution of x squared minus plus 7x equals to negative 6 by factoring. So first is transform the equation into standard form. So we have here x squared plus 7x plus 6 is equals to 0, the standard form. So factor the quadratic expression. So we need to factor the quadratic expression. So we have here x plus 6 and x plus 1 is equals to 0. That is the factor of the standard form given equation. And then recall a quadratic trinomial is a product of two binomials. So thus we can check if the factor x plus c, quantity of x plus 6 plus times quantity of x plus 1 is the right factor. So if it is, we should get x squared plus 7x plus 6 after applying the FOIL method. So apply the zero property product by setting each factor of the quadratic expression equal to 0. So the quantity of x plus 6 times the quantity of x plus 1 is equals to 0. So we equate both factors into 0. Then solve each resulting equation to get the value of the variable. So in the first equation, we have x is equal to negative 6. And the second equation, we have x is equal to negative 1. To check to determine the values are correct by substituting it from the original equation. So just substitute the value of both x into the original equation. So in first, x is equal to negative 6. So we got the correct answers, correct or balanced. So negative 6 is equal to negative 6. For the second, negative 6 is equal to negative 6. Both value of x satisfies the given equation, thus x squared plus 7x equals to negative 6 is true when x is equal to negative 6 and x equals to negative 1. Answer the equation x squared plus 7x equals to negative 6 has two solutions. So negative 6 and negative 1 are the value of x. Sample number 2. Factor 4x squared minus 9 is equals to 0. Solve for x. So we need to solve for x. So first is transform the equation into standard form. So we have the standard form. So in this case, the quadratic equation is already in standard form. So we need to factor it too. The factors are 2x, quantity of 2x minus 3, and the quantity of 2x plus 3. Then is equals to 0. Then We call the expression of x squared minus y squared is a difference of two squares, and its factor is the expression quantity of x minus y plus times quantity of x plus y. In this case, we can write for x squared minus 9 to 2x quantity of 2x squared minus 3 squared, with which is an example of a difference of 2 squared. Hence, its factor is 2x minus 3 and the quantity of 2x plus 3. Apply the zero product property by setting each factor of the quadratic expression equal to 0. So we need to equate both equations or factors into 0. Then solve each resulting equation to get the value of the variable. So 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. Then 2x minus 3 plus 3 is equal to 0 plus 3. Then 2x is equal to 3. Then we both divide we divide both by 2, and then we cancel out the 2, and then the remaining is x, and then 3 half is our x. And for the other one is 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. So 2x plus 3 minus 3 is equals to 0 minus 3. Then 2x minus is equal to negative 3. So we divide both sides by 2. So we cancel out the 2 over 2, and then the remaining is x is equal to negative 3 halves. To check to determine if the values are correct by substituting it from the original equation. So for the checking, so first we have the value of x 3 over 2, so just simply substitute, then simplify, so we got the correct. And then for the other one also, we have the negative 3 over 2 for the value of x. Just simply substitute to the standard equation or standard form of the given equation. So we have here 0 and 0. Both values of x satisfy the given equation. Thus, 4x squared minus 9 is equal to 0 is true when x is equal to 3 over 2 and x is equal to negative 3 over 2. So the equation for x squared minus 9 is equal to 0 has two solutions. So 3 halves and negative 3 halves are the value of x. So example number 3, solve 4y squared plus 36 is equal to negative 24y. So transform the equation into standard form. So then after we transform, we come up with a standard form of 4y squared plus 24y plus 36 is equal to 0. Then after that, we factored it, and we have quantity of 2y plus 6 and 2y plus 6 is equal to 0. Or we can write as 2y plus 6 squared is equal to 0. In this case, the quadratic expression 4y squared plus 24y plus 36 is a perfect square trinomial, therefore its factors are repeated. So when we have a perfect square trinomial, the factors are the same or repeated. So a perfect square trinomial, x squared plus minus 2xy plus y squared has a factor in the form of x plus or minus y quantity of x plus minus y, or x quantity of x plus minus y quantity goes squared. Since 4y squared plus 24y plus 36 is a perfect square trinomial, we can write it to 2 quantity of 2y squared plus 2 quantity of 2y times 6 plus 6 squared, and its factor is the expression quantity of 2y plus 6 plus times quantity of 2y plus 6, or 2 quantity of 2y plus 6 squared. Apply the zero product property by setting each factor of the quadratic expression equal to 0. So we equate both equations to 0, and then solve each resulting equation to get the value of the variable. So just simply solve. So 2y plus 6 equals 0. 2y plus 6 minus 6 is equals to 0 minus 6. Then we have the value of y to negative 3. And then for the second one also negative 3, because both factors are the same. In this case, we can say that the quadratic equation has only one real solution, since the two equals equation obtain the same value, which is y is equals to negative 3. So for the checking, so we got the correct answer or the value of y. So because we have 72 is equal to 72. The value of y satisfies the given equation, thus 4y squared plus 36 is equal to negative 24y is true when y is equal to negative 3. The equation 4y squared plus 36 is equal to negative 24y as one solution, and which is x is equal to negative 3. So I think that ends our lesson, and thank you for listening. God bless.